Chris, quick, save us. I forgot to unmute myself. Hi, my name's Shawn Shaler. This is the Avatar The Last Podcasters. Oh, everything's out of order. It's chaos over here. I'm Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, a.k.a. The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame. This is Avatar The Last Podcasters. We're both unmuted. Everything's fine. Everything's normal. Nothing out of place here. Chris, how you doing?
I am doing fine. Doing good. I've been reading. Let me scoot over here. Dang it. I don't feel like getting it. But reading the new Avatar book, The Legacy of Yang Chen.
Chris, how'd you come across that book at this time?
Oh, this one I actually did buy.
Well, that was nice.
I just like last year, I get our 2 free copies. But anyway, like you said, I reached out to my contacts at the. That sounds way more official than the shit. I reached out to my contacts at Abrams Books, who's a publisher for the Avatar Chronicles novels, and asked for 2 review copies for us. This one I just bought off of Amazon because I just wanted it a little quicker.
Little peek behind the curtain. Chris spent money and bought a book like a person.
Yeah,
that's good. Listen, we like the books. We support the books. Go buy the books.
Yes, yeah. And I usually last year my extra copy I had, I just gave away, and it was a prize giveaway at our trivia contest,
which is a perfect in game for it.
Yeah, exactly. For some reason I couldn't figure out how to go through the proper channels to request a copy. Last year, I remember I went to the website and there's a certain part under contact us or whatever. It's like request a review copy. So I went through that means and filled out the thing, and then a lady emailed me back. She is like the manager of social media or something. And then she I gave her information and stuff, and then she sent me, and I said thank you. And then this time around, I couldn't find the right link for it, and so I just emailed her back from last year. Just, hey, it's whatever, me again. I would like to request. I said, I'm sorry, this isn't the proper channels. I would like to request a review copy of The Legacy of Yang Chen. And she said, oh yeah, great, yeah, that sounds good. And it's funny enough, her title is now director of merchandising or whatever. Not merchandising,
That's us. Yeah,
yeah. Director of social media and stuff like that. I'm like, man, that's not a really good use of her time. So that's not what she's. When you're a director or something, you are not the one that manages random stuff like that.
I am not the director of anything, and I still immediately delete external requests of every type. I don't forward them. I don't redirect them. If they are motivated, they'll find it themselves, Chris.
The thing is, she emailed me back, just asking for the right addresses and stuff, and I gave those to her. And then a person, not her, here we go. A person not named her, whose title was like, oh, hey, he says, Chris, your track numbers are whatever. Thank you, best. Children's marketing and publicity assistant. That's something that an assistant does. So she will probably be my point person next year. And then next year she'll be like a manager or something.
Yeah.
This new person.
You should respond back to her in all caps and be like, Julie, get me a copy. And she won't get it, but maybe.
I haven't responded back to that last email yet, if I need to do that.
That's very exciting. It's been exactly the amount of time since I read the last book since I've read any books at all. So looking forward to it, and we'll keep you posted as we go through that.
Okay. I'm about 76 pages in, and I think I'm gonna like this book more than the last book, even though I have some of the same issues. So quickly, my first impressions are. I like where Yang Chen's character is at. She's kind of in a low place. She's had to succumb to playing the Game of Thrones and very much manipulating people. She's been relying on that a lot, and I think it's starting to affect her. And also, she's starting, I think, to question just like all this crap I'm dealing with. Like I gotta strong arm this person and this and that, and like are the like, and she starts getting like I don't know these influences of just like is it even worth it? And then she has this contentious relationship with the White Lotus. And there are some things from the previous book that I just didn't remember being a big deal. Like her and Kavik, like not even at all like cool with each other, and other people not people mad at Kavik. Um, but oh, I'm enjoying it so far. Not nearly enjoying it to the point of Kyoshi novels, but let me just hang up those expectations and ride along with expectations from the last book.
Feels reasonable. Looking forward to it. I actually forgot until you told me like 2 weeks ago that you had requested the review copies. I forgot it was that time, or that it was essentially coming out so soon. So I don't know. It's like finding not like a $20 bill in your, but it's like finding a $10 bill in your pocket. It's that level of pleasant surprise. Chris, did you mention that there were another news item or two, perhaps?
A little bit of some news items. We are getting the soundtrack for
Oh, I saw
Avatar: Last
that.
Airbender Book
Yeah.
One has been like complete. I say completely remastered, but they've brought in people to like redo it all and stuff. It'll be out sometime, I think, in the fall. So that's really cool. Like Jeremy Zuckerman and Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino have been like working all these years to get this done, and they finally got it done. So definitely need to support that project, and so that way they can do books 2 and 3. And like Korra's is done book 1 and 2, I think, but 3 and 4 doesn't have music. I have Korra book 1 and 2 somewhere, saved somewhere. But
That's awesome. I saw probably photos from our Twitter feed, and I think that like those soundtrack remasters is really big in gaming right now. Not just retro gaming,
yeah,
some I'm gonna say mildly modern recent gaming, but like especially like large, not large normal size, but printed vinyls. But they'll have like neat
yeah.
things printed on, and I don't
At
know if it
first,
interests me in particular, but it looks really neat, especially for those retro games.
yeah, at first the announcement was from. I saw the announcement first, which was enough from person I follow. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. His name is Mike in the Cinephile or
I
something.
thought you were
I
gonna
feel
just
bad that
stop after Mike. His name is Mike. Go follow Mike.
I feel bad that I can't remember his name because I talk to him pretty constantly. I just watched a YouTube video of his. I actually want to get him on the podcast at some point in time. That's a
Nice.
perfect video thing for him to be on. I don't know how he found out, but um, but yeah, the announcement was just like coming out on vinyl. And I'm like, this bet not just be vinyl. Like, who's like the audience is so small. It has to be coming, and it is coming out digitally in different areas and stuff. But all very exciting.
That's fantastic. I do like seeing, not that it has to be vinyl specifically, but I like seeing an analog format and a digital format. I think it's great to have both choices. So that's nice.
I still like CDs, but I know it probably won't come out on the CD.
Sure. Well, and I mean, what it amounts to is to a music file, an audio file. Is a CD is still digital, right? So the quality you're getting on a CD versus the quality you're getting from a digital file, right? Is not literally the same, but it's a digital
I just like
translation
owning
as
it.
opposed to vinyl. So vinyl people, they want the analog. Um,
Yeah.
Not so much me personally, but
For me, I just like oh I physically own this. Like no matter what, I can always put it in something
I
and
don't know if you
listen
know
to
this.
it.
We're big on physically owning things here. It's an important part of our day. Somebody like I just do my stupid little Switch videos where I'm just picking through my collection and I'm literally just logging it as I go, and I'll make little videos. And somebody commented, and I still just don't do well with like mean spirited YouTube comments. Somebody commented like, and someday there'll be a worthless pile of chips, and I'm just like, thanks, like it just the thumbs up button and like thanks, and that's it. But in my head, like I don't know if people know that on every Switch game, for example, there is a playable version of the game unless it says otherwise, right? So it'll say download required, or some games are, code in a box only, but those explicitly say it up top. But hey, fun fact, every other Switch game has like a playable offline from the get-go version of the game on the chip, on the card.
Ooh.
And so it will be good as long as there's a Nintendo Switch, just like any other old games. So I don't know, stuff like that. Like, I need to just let that go, but in my head it's like I need to yell at that guy on the internet.
I wanted to yell at some. Never mind. I think I'll just go around tangent. So really, someone I made this point on a YouTube video about like milestone comics, and someone was like, actually, this and this, and I was like, no, you're wrong. Like, well, no, I was like, no, you're half right, half wrong, da 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 da. And this one person came up afterwards, was like, well, you're both right. And I want to be like, no, we're not both right. He is only like 50% right, and I know these things.
This is not one of these opinions where everybody's opinion matters. Like this is a black and white kind of.
Yeah.
I presume,
and it bugged me.
given
It
the
bugged me
way
for like
you're
a day.
describing it too, it's not a thing where it's like a theory or whatever. Like I presume it's the thing that actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn internet. I just don't know how to.
Yeah, I let it go.
Yeah. COVID ruined me for understanding how to interact with people, and I wasn't that good at it to begin with. But, Chris, we've got an interesting episode today.
Oh, random.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Slight random news, which is a good segue. No, slight random news, which is a good segue into our topic for today, is that Diamond Select is going to be releasing an Iroh statue, which I'm really looking forward to. It's also going to be PVC, so it'll probably be like $50 or $60. But I'm really glad to see that Diamond Select is continuously going to be making statues for Avatar Universe. They make really great statues, and for some reason, I feel like their licensing with McFarlane isn't like I haven't seen anything new from them in months. So I'm curious if they'll keep that relationship up. But I'm glad to see that their relationship with Diamond Select is still going on because they make great statues.
Is that like the Big Aang statue? Is that Diamond Slide?
No, that one was McFarlane, that huge one.
Kidding. The huge one,
yeah. Yeah, but then Diamond Select made like I'm not gonna show you. Diamond Select makes this Zuko one. Don't know if you can see.
Uh-huh.
They made this Aang one here, and then this Aang one here. McFarlane made this one. Dark Horse or whoever made this and that.
The comic
and then
book people?
Diamond Select.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's nice news. Chris, why would Iroh be a good segue for today?
Because
I don't know why I say it like that. He's like, it's in the screen and in the title.
Because today we are starting somewhat of a new series. Not like a continuous series, more like a series which like we'll do this every now and then. This series is I have called Character Assassination, where we will be talking about the unpopular opinions of some beloved characters, opinions, facts, things that people don't like to realize about them, dirty little ugly truths about them that sometimes are overlooked. And we're going to bring them to shine. And some things are, and we might discuss where these things are valid, whether we, like these things about these characters, and even maybe if we would like change some of these things about these characters. But today's character is probably the most beloved character in the whole show. And I should preface this by saying Iroh is my favorite character in all of Avatar, and this is my idea. There's just some things I see about Iroh, and I'm like, you guys are kind of, gassing him up too much. Like, there's stuff about him that isn't like, he's not 100% yay, hunky-dory, gleeful type of stuff.
At a minimum, like, just because he's your favorite character, it's like, all right, he's not 100% good, part of the reason he's your favorite character is because of the dynamics, the context, the interest is there. And then at the end, as the title implies, we kill Iroh, as the title suggests.
Just character. We don't want to kill him. You're the one always trying to kill Iroh for some reason. Not me.
I don't know why I got it in for him. He's a great character. Man, Nate got me thinking. My head went on a tangent, and now I'm like, who's my favorite character? And I don't know the answer yet. I got to think about it.
Oh, okay. But I see us doing this to a couple different characters, especially like the beloved ones. Going to do Aang at some point, and I think me for myself, I should do Korra as well.
Well, and like I think you have to do Zuko if it's something you're gonna.
Mm.
I think you almost have to, I guess, just as far as beloved characters goes. But
Yeah.
oh,
All right.
anyway, yeah, Chris, you took a lot of opinions on the internet this week concerning this topic.
Yes, I did. You want to start off with other people's opinions or our
That's a good
opinions?
point. Yeah. Yeah, we should do ours first. That's the norm.
Okay.
Getting ahead of myself.
All right. I'll start with my number one thing about Iroh. That is a complete character assassination. Uncle Iroh, and I've said this before, he's a terrible father. Terrible father. Got his son killed. There's no way around it, people. He got his son killed because he he encouraged his son to be in a war, and his son died for it. And yeah, terrible father. And I've used this analogy before. Say if you can love, you can be kind, and Iroh was kind to his son, absolutely. But as a parent, you have to direct your children in a way that makes them better human beings. And Iroh didn't do enough of that. Like if a clan member shows love to his child, but he raises him up to be a clan member, and then he goes and does some type of atrocity, and he gets shot in the act. Whose fault is that? It is both of their faults, but there's fault to be had on the father's part. That
My
was very extreme, but still.
No, it's a good clean example. Mine is that even though it's very biblical to like forgiveness, prodigal son, and all that stuff, but I think that Iroh, it seems that it took a serious, impactful, major life event for him to change his ways and his lifestyle. And not that that doesn't make him any less of a good character, a good person, but like it took like he had a lesson put in front of him, a major life lesson that sort of
And
forced
it was
or enlightened him. That I don't even know the right word to use, but because I want to say like other people don't have that luxury, but obviously luxury is the wrong word. But of having that major life event, that's like no, you need to change your ways now. That took him to turn. That took like that it took for him to turn a corner and become the character that
yeah,
we
it
see
was
today.
yeah, it was almost selfish in a way. Like it took for your specific son to die for you to realize that we're bad. When other people have died in this war, it's very um, self uh,
He was
indulgent
only
is the word.
motivated when it became a selfish thing,
Yes, when it personally affected him.
and we can't live that way as humans. And so even though
Absolutely, it
I
shouldn't.
slash we forgive him and
Mhm.
appreciate that he became a good human, but like you can't rely on that to happen.
Yeah, and it
Before
makes for
that,
great. It makes for great writing.
sure.
Absolutely, but as just a person, it shouldn't. And this is the opposite of empathy. Like empathy is when I see someone going through something, and it doesn't have to happen for me to personally feel the effects of that. Like that's what it takes to be a really great human being, is that you don't have to walk the same, you don't have to experience the same thing that other people experience for you to fully feel those emotions and change as a person. But in this case, Iroh had to feel that very personal, deep stuff in him,
And
and it
it's
had to
not
personally happen to him.
and it's not to say that maybe he wouldn't have come around eventually, but you can't count on that.
Yeah.
And that's so that's always been my number one gripe against
Hmm.
Iroh,
Oh, that's a good one.
as the perfect human character.
Yeah. So on our last, we can kind of address if we would change it or not, and what we would change as we talk about these each individual things. I wouldn't have changed. My well, hmm, what I've changed that he's. I wouldn't have changed that he said I think he's a bad father because it makes for good writing. It makes for that growth. I'm not sure, and I don't think I would. I would also wouldn't change. Hmm. I also probably I would slightly change because right now Iroh's flashpoint is his son dying, and we don't get to see a lot of Iroh's
Well,
um,
we're making a bit of an assumption,
past.
but I think that's the
Yeah,
best
it's a
possible
solid
assumption.
assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I could have dealt with seeing Iroh see the other side of the war and what's causing. It's interesting, and this is Mike Bryan Knitzko said in an interview, I think on the Avatar the Brave and the Elements podcast, of like, I think he was almost trying to cover for Iroh in a sense, but it kind of somewhat contradicts things he said in the past that I've read in interviews from Bryan. But he was talking on the podcast about Iroh, and he was saying like, well, yeah, Iroh took over the war, but he one of the reasons why he took it over because he wanted to end it really quickly because he saw, Iroh didn't like war for the sake of war, so he thought if he could end it very quickly, that's why he was, going to war.
See, that sounds more
And
like fan headcanon to me.
it does a little bit to me, but also I'm not Brian Konietzko. I'm not the freaking writer of one of the things that I love most in the
Okay.
world.
But one
So,
of the things that
but
I always we've had not fight, we've had this discussion before is the writers can think and say things, but until they put it like canonically in a piece of
yeah,
media that I can absorb, like I don't know, say it's not. I mean, it's not canon. It's not like you know what I mean. So he can say that, but I don't know. It's not true until you show
well,
me in media. This is a fictional media, not an idea.
even if that was true, like that doesn't one, it doesn't absolve him of things. And I know Brian probably said like, yeah, of course it doesn't absolve him of things. He goes through the growth and stuff. But to me, it doesn't even excuse any of it. Like it's like, oh, he wanted, like, oh man, we really got to stop killing people, so let's hurry up and kill people. That's what,
Yeah, I don't.
that's how you can interpret it.
Unless you were going like
Like,
full sabotage. So I don't think I would change everything because again, we're debating why Iroh maybe is just on too big of a pedestal. We're not saying why he's not our favorite character,
yes,
but it's one of the things
absolutely,
that makes him my favorite character. So I don't think I
yeah.
would change it. But if you wanted to find discrete ways to plant seeds of like his earlier White Lotus days, maybe before his son died, or him starting to realize too late for his son, or like starting to direct himself properly, and maybe like a splintered relationship with his son, or couldn't bring his son over, or he was going through his own
Mhm.
metamorphosis, and maybe not being a good dad. Like if you wanted to plant some seeds, maybe, but I don't think I would. I think I
Yeah,
appreciate right now. I appreciate the vagueness as it is.
yeah, I agree with that. Let's see, what else can I? There was something else I was thinking of with Iroh personally myself. Dang it, I'm not connected to
In
this.
I've got if you're on to like another possible gripe, I've got kind of my
No,
only not my only other one, but like my second big one that comes to mind a lot is that
keep it
he
going.
he lands in the show. He kind of lands in the perfect situation where he doesn't have to take action. Like yeah, he's this good person that we know, and he's helping this one young man right his ship, and he picked well, right? He picked an important young man in the grand scheme of things, but he lands in a situation where he himself doesn't have to take a whole lot of like external positive outward action against the atrocities of the world at large, right? Um, it's a nice easy way for him to be like, well, yeah, I'm a good person. See, I'm here, training Zuko to be a good person,
Yeah,
and it's convenient. And again, that's not me complaining about his character in a way that I enjoy it, because I still think that's part of us experiencing Iroh's arc and like what his
mm.
right thing is to do, and that to me is part of the joy of Iroh. So would not change that. I just always like pointing out it's not like he's out
Yeah,
fighting against the Fire Nation, or fighting for peace or anything. Like he's sitting on a boat, pretty comfy.
yeah. I wonder, was there some type of like maybe he's just waiting for the right time
Waiting for
to.
the right opportunity to shift the status quo.
Yes, yeah,
And,
yeah,
and he clearly has some inkling that Zuko is going to be important in the grand scheme of things. Not just their own story arcs, but kind of to the fate of the world. So still
yeah.
something to be said for that. But like, all right, he's still doing it in luxury. He's fine. He's camping.
um, yeah, I wouldn't. I would probably plant, and this goes to the point that some people were making earlier. I would probably plant more seeds of him taking actionable directions towards the ultimate good that he wants to go through. And real quick, just to intersect with something that someone said because it has to do with this. Why can't I find it? Oh, it's from Caitlin.
Oh, hi, Caitlin.
She says he actually helped Zuko fight Aang in the Avatar Returns episode. The only time he helped Zuko to fight Aang. So confusing. And so yeah, so that episode where they both firebend up. It's in the second episode. Aang is getting away on Appa, and they both use a coordinated like fireball attack up at Appa, and Aang swings it away, hits like the side of a cliff or something. So that is a little confusing.
Yeah. I have a thought for a minor change, and very minor, that I wouldn't mind seeing is. Yeah, I still don't think I would do it, but if they wanted to in the early going, there's already like a nice level, some level of respect between Zuko and Iroh. That wouldn't necessarily have to be there. Maybe Iroh could already be a little farther along the path of good, and that could piss Zuko off, and Zuko already has no respect for him because he's a disgraced general. Right? They could have a more fractured relationship at the beginning that was maybe in some part due to Iroh already being farther down this path of good in an external way. But even then, I don't know if I'd work too hard to shift that balance. I like it as it is.
Yeah, and just little. Yeah, at most I'll do little crumbs.
Yeah,
throughout.
A big fight early on because Iroh wants to do something good, but even then they do eventually. It does, So yeah.
Other thing that kind of crushes people's, I think, people can interpret Iroh however they want. I see a lot of posts about like Iroh being a father figure to like all of them. I'm like, I doesn't hang around with all of Team Avatar all that much. Like,
Not
he
till
gave
the
Aang that
literal
advice
bitter
at one
end,
time. He gave Aang advice that one time in Bossing Say, and then but like so many people have given Aang advice throughout the years. Like I don't consider all of them father figures of Team Avatar. But
I
so
mean, at most
hey,
he
if you
helps
want to interpret
Toph
that
in
way,
a hot tub,
Yeah.
Wait, not a hot
I know
tub.
people are gonna. I feel somewhat guilty. I feel like people are going to like, what are you guys talking about? And again, I love Iroh. He's my favorite character, so I'm so excited for that statue coming. I think those are the biggest thing. Oh, strength. A lot of people think Iroh is just like a lot of people think Iroh could have taken on Fire Lord Ozai, and I'm just like, no, he couldn't have taken him on. Like they built Ozai up to be.
Being the older brother is only good to a certain age in life, and then
Yeah,
it turns a corner.
Yeah. At some point, he would have been able to easily take him, and
Yeah,
he's past that point.
but like Iroh's demonstrable strength at this age does not exceed Ozai's demonstrable strength at this age.
Yeah.
Agree. Agree.
And then I wouldn't change that. Other
Either.
things with his
I kind of
writing,
like the ambiguity where you maybe feel like Iroh has more in the tank, but he's kind of going the pacifism route, right? He doesn't want to let it out anymore. So I kind of like the vagueness of it.
Yeah. Yep. Sound check.
Yep. Sound check.
I keep doing that every now and then.
There's just not a good. Yeah, there's just not a great way for me to share my screen in Discord and then still capture both of our cameras in a good high quality. But
that's fine.
There's probably smarter. Hey, listen,
audio video. As long as I say it.
Audio video people at me.
Those are, I think, my biggest character gripes about Iroh and unpopular opinions about him. I really wouldn't change that much about the things that I specifically called out, but there's more things that some of our listeners
Hit me
have
with them
called out.
fan theories.
All right, let's start off with Caitlin. When Iroh came back from his adventures, he was content to sit by and watch the Fire Nation under control of Ozai. Yeah, we kind of talked about that.
Yeah, how many
And
years did he wait in between, you know, Zuko
I mean,
Zuko needing
only
him to guide and just like Iroh like in this purgatorial state of just being a Fire Nation higher up?
just 3 years. Like the siege on Ba Sing Se happened like 3 years before the series starts.
So yeah, so
It's
there's
weird
there's a
because
small chunk
it
of time
feels
where he's just kind of sitting around the house. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he probably took you know a year of just being depressed.
Fair
But
enough.
that's even less. You're it's even a little bit more selfish. But again, I wouldn't rewrite that. Like
No,
that's
that's
part
part
of.
of yeah.
Yeah.
Again, what we do love about Iroh is he's got the hidden arc. You got the Zuko arc that's out front and center. But
Mm-hmm.
Iroh, he feels peak, but the more you watch, the more you appreciate, like we're talking about.
Yeah. All right. Here's one that pretty much everyone can agree on. He takes advantage of June's paralysis when June gets hit by her shoo and she
Forgot
lands
about
on
that. Yeah,
him, and then Zuko's like, "Uncle, I didn't see you get hit with shoo," and he's just like, and just yeah, that is creepy. No
yeah,
doubt
that
about
messed up.
that. I
That's
would
that's
write
original
that out.
Dragon Ball creepy right there.
Yeah, man, Dragon Ball is so freaking creepy. Uh, like it, how was different time,
Nope.
I guess,
Yep.
but
Mm-hmm.
so freaking creepy. Um, oh my gosh! Now the more I think about it, Bulma was like a teenager in Dragon Ball, which makes it so much
I
worse.
was to say, I think mid-teens also
Yeah, she's
is
like
my impression.
she might be the same age as Goku. No, because Goku's like 6
Yeah,
when Dragon Ball
he's quite a bit
starts.
younger. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
It gets worse the longer you think
anyway,
about it, though. I'll tell you that much.
yeah. and it gets worse.
What are three other things about him?
um, here's one that I found funny that I probably would rewrite, but it's real. He nearly exposes himself in Zuko in the. Oh wait. Oh, I'm thinking about something else. Never mind. I'm sorry, Kayla. Sorry, I'm laughing too much. So she writes. I'm stupid laughing.
It's just gonna be 30 seconds of
Oh
Chris
god.
laughing at himself.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Quit. Like I'm talking to one of my kids. Quit. He he nearly exposes himself in Zuko in the drill episode. Okay, so what she's talking about is that he firebends his teeth, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
that's it is
Not
dumb
not
for
that he
Arrow to do
literally
that,
like
but
has his pants off or whatever. Yeah.
but when I read, and sometimes I just read things wrong. Uh, when I read he nearly exposes himself in Zuko, I read that as he nearly exposed himself to Zuko
Yeah, that's messed
in
up
the
too.
episode. In the episode, oh
The
my
one with the hot
gosh,
springs?
yeah, the one in the hot springs. I'm mad at myself. I can't remember the title of the episode. Aang is it's the the Winter Solstice Part 1. That's it. And so I thought Kate was talking about that of him exposing himself to Zuko because Zuko goes like, And so before I read that, I had this whole thought behind it of like, yeah, I wouldn't have Iroh exposing himself also like naked to his nephew. And then I was thinking about just like that's just an old person thing for some reason. Like old men are very comfortable in their bodies, way too comfortable.
Got nothing left
And
to
yeah,
lose, Chris.
I don't know why. The thing is, it's it annoys me. But like, we're just being like, if any man who's been in a locker room have seen an old man's junk
Yep.
way too many,
Afraid so.
one too many times, and they care not one, all the two, whatever times you've seen it, that
That
many
many
times too
times,
many.
too many. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why old man like that. Like I've been in a locker room so many times with like other people, like you, Shawn. I've never seen you before. So it's very easy to
It's
just
easy to be discreet.
clean. Yeah,
I think they
but old
just.
men are just like, nah. Let me just walk around, no towel, just walking. I remember it freaked me out one time when I was like 8 or something. I went to the local pool and the guy in the shower. I was like, ah.
Yeah, just that was literally a memory I was going to bring up. It's like this is a public pool. It's a small town. Chris, that's another important difference. I was in a small town, right? A public pool, it's like people you know just walking out of the shower, just not my grandpa, but somebody else's grandpa. You know,
Yeah.
it's messed up. Stop it, old men. It's easy to. Towels are everywhere. That's all I'll say. Find one.
So even though that's not what Caitlin brought up, I'll say yes.
But
Let's like
listen,
let's
what
put
you
that
brought
out.
up about
Let's
Iroh
stop.
is that he literally you're supporting the perv theory, so it's worthwhile.
Yeah. Um. Then Dan said he's not here to give me tea advice and I must need to hug. So that's what he hates about him. So
That's
that's the opposite
that's
character. That's
regrettable. I get it.
assassination.
Yeah.
But okay, that's good. Um, one person I can't think of anything bad about this man, and I'm like, there's a lot.
You gotta look. Yeah.
um, so yeah, so that is I think everything from Facebook people and listeners. I
I
didn't get much stuff on the tweeters.
I have a comment and then one more addition. My comment is just while we're talking about Iroh. This is the good thing. This is what I do like about Iroh and what in my head canon, what would have made me know that he was a good person all along. And I'm gonna butcher the saying, but the saying is something like, Chris, if you're nice to me but you're mean to waiters, you're not a nice person. Right?
Mm-hmm.
In my head, I bet Iroh was always nice to waiters. Right? You had to see, like, there was a good person in there somewhere. It just needed to bloom and grow. Um, so that's kind of a compliment. One more addition I'm going to make that nobody said is, we get the end result, but like his nurturing of Zuko over Azula, like the apathy toward
Oh,
Azula.
good
Right?
point. Good point. Yeah.
I mean, we get it from a narrative standpoint, but it would be easy to look at Iroh's character and say, like, you could have tried, you could have tried to jump in
Yeah.
and help her out.
Well, that's. I think it's hard because you see that one person needs your attention, but
Well, and you go,
like
you fix a problem that can be fixed, or that, what's it like? Gosh, even that still sounds bad coming out.
you still gotta try, even if it seems like her father's claws are dug deep into her. You still gotta reach out that hand
Her
and
life
try.
is as valuable as Zuko's life, and that's not represented in Iroh's priority very well at any point.
Yeah.
So, something worth bringing up. I would say again, it doesn't bother me too much because situation of we discussed a little bit, grieving Iroh, outcast Zuko, like the context is what brought them together, and I'm fine with that, and I wouldn't really change it. But you could throw in maybe there again seeds of Iroh demonstrating love for Azula. Real
No, I think
love,
that's
not
a
just
good point.
familial loyalty.
Because it's weird. Their dynamic is
It's
so much
minimal.
more
There's so
like.
little of it.
Well, it's so much more like colleagues than Iroh being the superior. Like when Iroh and Zuko's dynamic is like Iroh's up here, like he has all the wisdom, all the knowledge to put into Zuko. And when it comes to like nurture him on things, but when it comes to like Azula and him, they seem like they're on the same playing field where there can't be any mentorship there. That being said, that's just the way it comes across. Um, but I think I agree with you that it could have been more like Azula, like just talking to her through the same ways like he's talking through Zuko. Like, sure, Azula seemed like a lost cause, but you still gotta try.
Well,
Um,
narratively, she could have shot him down immediately, but at least we might have had that seedling of like, oh, he doesn't not care about Azula. He just, again, he was kind of on his own journey, and his own
yeah,
journey happened to be Zuko. Just
yeah,
thought.
it's funny thinking about it from a Star Wars perspective of like Obi-Wan talking to Luke about Anakin. Like he talks about Luke about Darth Vader as more like a or to Anakin more like a more in a favorable sense. Like, oh well, yeah, he was this and that and that. No, never mind. Never mind. Terrible thing because he lost hope
Yeah, I
in
mean, just think
never
about
mind.
like if one of your sisters like had a strong favoritism or like a specific bond for with one of your kids.
Yeah,
Um, like if one of your sisters was really nerdy and they loved dressing up with Mackenzie or whatever, and then didn't like express any kind of relationship with the other kids just because they were too young to go to these things or whatever, like just
hmm,
because of the context. It's like you might
yeah.
understand it, but it would still be a little bit like, hey, I got these other kids also that
Yeah.
like to do stuff.
No, I would change that as well. I think that would be a good change from him at least trying to reach out to Zula because all the time he talks about Zula. Like the first time we see him in the first episode, we see them interact with Zula. He kicks her off a ship, and then other times he's never trying to sway Zula in either direction.
He's never trying to extend the same positive love
Yeah,
and energy that he puts toward Zuko.
yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe
For everyone,
there's a
ever
backstory out
for
there somewhere.
everyone, for everyone who badmouths Ursa about how she didn't love Azula, that's wrong. Put that energy towards Iroh.
Yeah, take that energy, which is they're again demonstrably incorrect,
Yeah,
and
like
redirect that
Ursa gets a
energy.
bad rap.
And
Ursa, I've mentioned this before. She loved both her children. She loved them. I would equally. Like when she left the Fire Nation, she kissed them both goodnight. Azula didn't wake up. Bazooka woke up a little bit. She loved them both. She tried to reach out. She talked to Azula. Like we need to have a talk about when Azula would say dangerous
yeah,
things about her grandfather being killed
not
or
fun
not living long.
conversations.
Yeah.
Like that's the hardest part of being a
Anyway,
parent is having that crap. Like, yeah, no, don't
everyone
kill grandpa, son.
take that energy, redirect it at Iroh.
And then accept that we're just pointing out Iroh's flaws as a character, but there again, the reason that we like him is part of his larger journey. He has a great
Yes.
arc. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Final thoughts? Last editions? Chris,
I
maybe
can
Iroh
do
is my favorite character. I still haven't decided, but I haven't thought about it that much.
Who would be in your top three?
Top three. Gosh. Toph, Iroh. Maybe it is one of those two, I suppose, because those two come to mind so
Mm.
fast. Okay, yeah, it's either Toph or Iroh, but the underlying theme is that we get a little bit of both those characters in both those series, and I like those characters'
Oh,
progression
yeah.
from Avatar through Korra. So it's a little bit unfair in that regard, but one of those two.
Cool.
If I'm feeling arc, Iroh. If I'm feeling not arc, Toph.
Mm.
Not that she
Yeah.
doesn't have one. Not that it's just a jagged. It's not smooth. Chris, I think that's all for this episode. Then, hey, thanks for commenting, everybody. We appreciate your input, and thanks for watching. Come back next week. My name's Shawn Taylor. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter and certain book publishing company fames. And I'll put all the details down in the description. We will see you guys next time.
Goodbye. But not sayonara. I think sayonara technically means goodbye forever.
Oh, for real?
Like there's different type of goodbyes, and sayonara means like goodbye forever.
Oh, I didn't know that. I learned something. Who knew this was an educational podcast?
Dun, 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 dun.